The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is the lead federal agency responsible for managing the nation's fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitats for the continuing benefit of the American people. Several agencies in the federal government put our country's conservation laws into action, and the service's Ecological Services program helps lead the way. The National Wetlands Inventory is a publicly available resource that provides detailed information on the abundance, characteristics, and distribution of wetlands in the United States. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is the principal federal agency tasked with providing information to the public on the status and trends of our nation's wetlands. This presentation provides a brief overview of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's National Wetlands Inventory Map. The easiest way to find the National Wetlands Inventory Map is to search for it on Google. Type in the search term National Wetlands Inventory, then click the search button. A number of search results will be shown. We will use the top link, National Wetlands Inventory, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This is the home page of the National Wetlands Inventory Wetlands Mapper. The Wetlands Mapper is designed to deliver easy-to-use, map-like views of America's wetland resources. It integrates digital map data along with other resource information to produce current information on the status, extent, characteristics, and functions of wetlands, riparian, and deepwater habitats. The Wetlands Mapper fulfills the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's strategic plan for the development, revision, and dissemination of wetlands data and information to resource managers and the public. This information is intended to promote the understanding and conservation of wetland resources through discovery and education, as well as to aid in resource management, research, and decision-making. The wetlands displayed on the Wetlands Mapper show wetland type and extent using a biological definition of wetlands. There is no attempt to define the limits of proprietary jurisdiction of any federal, state, or local government, or to establish the geographical scope of the regulatory programs of government agencies. Before we access the Wetlands Mapper, there are a few things to point out. Please take a few moments to become familiar with the disclaimer, data limitations, exclusions, and precautions, and the Wetlands Database user cautions. The use of trade, product, industry, or firm names or products is for informative purposes only and does not constitute an endorsement by the U.S. government or the Fish and Wildlife Service. Links to non-service websites do not imply any official U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service endorsement of the opinions or ideas expressed therein, or guarantee the validity of the information provided. Base cartographic information used as part of the Wetlands Mapper has been provided through a license agreement with the SRI and the Department of the Interior. Refer to the following links for documentation and instruction. The Wetlands Mapper documentation and instructions manual can be found here, as well as the video link to how to find and use the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Wetlands Mapper. To get to the Wetlands Mapper, click on the U.S. map image identified here. The map displays at the site show wetland type and extent using a biological definition of wetlands. There is no attempt to define the limits of proprietary jurisdiction of any federal, state, or local government, or to establish the geographical scope of the regulatory programs of government agencies. The use of products or trade, product, industry, or firm names is for informative purposes only and does not constitute an endorsement by the U.S. government or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Links to non-service websites do not imply any official Fish and Wildlife Service endorsement of the opinions or ideas expressed therein, or guarantee the validity of the information provided. Base cartographic information used as part of this Wetlands Mapper has been provided through third-party products. The Fish and Wildlife Service does not maintain and is not responsible for the accuracy or completeness of the base cartographic information. This application may not be fully accessible to people with disabilities. If you need assistance accessing this mapper or wetlands data, email us at wetlands_team@fws.gov. Now, click on the I accept the terms and conditions link. This is the default mapper screen view. Let's take a look at the main features and see what they do. In the upper left corner are two drop-down menus, one for base maps and the other for map layers. Base maps allows you to select the basic features you want your map view to display. The default is hybrid, shown here. It shows a background satellite view with state and county boundaries superimposed along with some place names. Other base maps include streets, USGS Topo, Terrain, the U.S. National Map, and more. Map Layers allows you to select features to display on the Wetlands Mapper. Examples include wetlands, which is set as a default, and options such as displaying Fish and Wildlife Service National Wildlife Refuge boundary. In the upper left part of the map, there are some basic controls. Just like Google Earth, the plus and minus tabs allow you to zoom into and out of the map. Next is a circle that allows the map to find your location. This image shows where the mapper went when I tried it, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's headquarters in Falls Church, Virginia. The next icon looks like a house. Clicking on this icon will return the mapper to the default view. When you click on the measure link, a menu appears that offers a variety of choices. If you select the polygon tool, you can measure area. The default is acres. Though hard to see in these images, there is a small blue inverted triangle that will offer additional measurement options. Other measurement options include point-to-point distances and degrees. In the lower left corner of the map is a window that displays the current location of your cursor in longitude and latitude. Looking at the top right of the map, About provides the same information you had the opportunity to review when you accessed the mapper. It provides links to information about the application, disclaimer, data limitations, and Wetlands Geodatabase user cautions. The Get Data tab opens a menu that contains information for downloading data as either a compressed file geodatabase or a shapefile. Files are compressed by using the zip format. Data can be downloaded by watershed and by state. Many of the data layers on the Wetland Mapper can be accessed by other applications by using additional web mapping services. Print allows you to download and print a copy of your map view. Once you enter a title for your map, you can produce a paper copy or save the map as a PDF file. With Find Location, you can enter a street address, city, or place name. For coordinates, enter decimal degrees in longitude-latitude format. The legend displays a color-coded key about a wetland's mapping status and another reference key identifying wetland types. Now, let's go through an example of using the Wetlands Mapper. Starting from the Home or Default view, open the Map Layers menu and click on the Fish and Wildlife Service Refuges checkbox. Then close the Map Layers menu. Open the Find Location tab and type in Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge. This refuge is located in coastal North Carolina. Then click the Go button. The Wetlands Mapper will go to the requested location. In the case of a large national wildlife refuge, such as Alligator River, you may need to back your view out a bit to get oriented. The translucent overlay shows the actual refuge boundaries. Open the Map Layers menu again and click on the FWS Refuges checkbox. The refuge boundary layer will be removed. Let's zoom in on Mans Harbor, which is located here. Use the zoom tool to get a closer view and open the legend key. You can see that there are estuarine and marine, freshwater emergent, and freshwater forested shrub wetlands. Let's close the legend and take a closer look at a specific wetland type. Each wetland has a code, such as the one you see here. If you click on the wetland, a pop-up will appear that provides a basic description. Let's click on the Zoom to Wetland link. I have enlarged the pop-up so you can see the information it contains. There is the classification code, the wetland type, acres, image dates, and project metadata. To understand the classification, click on the Decode link. This will open a new page. Please note that there are two links on this page, one for information on likely plants colonizing this wetland, and the likely soil types present. Also note that the reported soil and plant lists are not exhaustive. Now click the Decode button. This will direct you to a wetland code interpreter page that is unique to this wetland. The wetland code is PEM1/SS4R. P stands for a palustrine system. This is followed by a short narrative description. EM means emergent and has a similar description. The number 1 indicates that the wetland is dominated by species that normally remain standing, at least until the beginning of the next growing season. SS indicates a scrub shrub environment dominated by woody vegetation, less than 6 meters tall. The number 4 stands for needle-leaved evergreens, which are wetlands dominated by young or stunted trees such as black spruce or pond pine. The modifier R describes the water regime identified here as being seasonal tidal. Palustrine, riverine, and lacustrine wetlands are flooded by freshwater tides for extended periods, especially early in the growing season, but is absent by the end of the growing season in most years. The water table after flooding ceases is variable, extending from saturated to the surface to a water table well below the ground surface. Going back to the point in this overview where we clicked on a wetland and got this pop-up, there is one more thing that I would like to make you aware of, and that is the project metadata link. Clicking on the link will direct you to a PDF file with supplemental information that includes the source imagery, type, scale, and date. For watershed or state-level data, regional mapping issues, or information, partnering and cooperating with the service to develop or update wetland maps, contact the Regional Wetlands Coordinator for your area. For the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, this is Dave Harrelson. Thanks for watching.